It's been a hot minute since I filmed a video, and no pun intended considering it's like 95 degrees outside right now. But I recently got 2 more horses added to the amount of horses that I'm already riding, so I've been like super busy, and I've got some really exciting products to share with you guys today, and I'll be going to horse shows for the next 4 days in a row, so I was like, I'm gonna squeeze this in there considering it's so hot outside. I've got the 4 new Viseart face palettes and also their new eyeshadow palette in number 9 Bijoux Royale. This is a little bit different for me in that Muse Beauty Pro sent me the 4 face palettes, and then I purchased the Bijoux Royale eyeshadow palette, and I had wanted the two of the blush palettes for sure. I was just having a hard time pulling the trigger considering there's 5 new Viseart palettes and they're 80 bucks a piece. So that adds up to be a pretty heavy price tag. So I started out with the eyeshadow palette, and then I was going to slowly work my way up to getting these, but they contacted me and asked me if I had wanted the new Viseart collection, and Viseart is one of those brands that I've been talking about and in love with for a very long time, so I kind of felt like it was a no-brainer to say yeah, because I was going to eventually end up buying them anyway. But I really would like you guys' opinion on me getting these for PR. Not sponsored. I don't do sponsored videos at all, but everything you guys have ever seen on my channel I've purchased myself, so I really value you guys' opinion on what you think about me receiving these as PR. I've been on YouTube long enough and done my channel very organically to kind of get over that hump of excitement of receiving PR, so it kind of doesn't affect me whether or not a brand wants to send me something or not. But please let me know in the comments down below what you think about that. I'm not about to be a full-on PR channel by any means, but every once in a while when something like this comes along, you know, I would like to receive it. It does help me out because I know a lot of people think that I'm extremely wealthy or something, which I'm not. I do okay for myself, and it does help me out. In no way does it affect my opinion on the products, which is one of the reasons why I try to get live swatches and be able to let you guys see through the lens the best that I can the texture and stuff of the products, so that you can better decide for yourselves whether it's something that you would like to purchase. I don't really like to tell people you need to get this. I can tell you what I feel about it, but I'm not one of those who are like, you need this in your life, you know, because everybody's so different about makeup. So hopefully with the swatches and stuff like that, you guys can better decide whether it's something that you would like. And I've purchased Viseart's most recent releases from Muse Beauty Pro, which is how I think they kind of found me. And I think right now they have something going on called buy something get something, where they have like these bundle deals. If you buy this, you'll get this for free type of a situation. You have to check it out on their website, but there's a couple different like bundle type things, and I think it's now, I just looked, I think it's now through August 20th, I think. I did do a demo with the products, which is what's on my eyes and the bronzer, highlighter, blush, contour, and then of course the colors on the eyes, which the matte portions are the blushes. The blushes I've used for the past 2 days on the eyes. They work amazing as eyeshadow, and I use them on the face as well. Now look, like when you look at the blushes, they're very bright, and I thought I'm gonna have to use a really light hand and a really fluffy brush. It says that they're a triple milled formula that can be used sheer or built up, and I thought for sure, just the way that they feel and how pigmented that they are, that I was going to have to be extra careful with it. So I grabbed my Goss 14 brush and lightly feathered the blush on, and I kind of just dabbed a little, and a little does go a long way, but I was surprised to see how easy it was to sheer them out. So I kind of went back and picked up more, and it was easy to build them. So if you want to use them sheer or heavy, it's relatively easy, because based on what's on my eyes, that's how heavy the blushes could get. I have the same color right through here on my eyes as I do on my cheeks, so you can kind of see how you can sheer out those products. And then talking a little bit about the palettes before I go ahead and zoom in and give you guys swatches. The eyeshadow palette for me was a no-brainer. It's a very similar formula to the Bohemian Dream, the last one that they came out with, and I feel like the quality is on par with all of my other Viseart eyeshadow palettes. I love them, which I don't think is any surprise. But the face palettes, like, I didn't feel like the promo pictures that are the pictures that I've seen online really did them justice. I was really surprised when I got them in my hands to see that the colors looked just richer and prettier in person than they did like through the phone or on the computer screen. I don't feel like all of the face palettes are going to be for everybody, but I do feel like a compilation of all 4 will be a makeup artist's dream set. There's so many different colors, and the formulation of Viseart products mix really well together. Like, you can mix a really dark berry with a, you know, an orange, and just really customize whatever shade that you're looking for. In the Highlight and Sculpt palette, which is what is on the top of my cheeks, I did use a cream base underneath it today because the highlights in this palette are they're very sheer, like especially with the highlights that are coming out nowadays, which are really in your face, and I like in your face. These are a lot more on the natural side of things compared to those. So I used a creamy base underneath it to get a little more something out of it. I used it by itself yesterday and I was kind of wishing for a little more glow. Also, this is the lightest highlighter shade, is just a little, it could be brighter for fair skin tones. I feel like I can still see a little bit of a deeper, slight deeper gold in it, so I do wish it was a little bit lighter. And I kind of feel like that was the only thing that I was wishing for when I had used all of the face palettes. And then another thing, the Bijoux Royale palette is all shimmer, so it's going to be one of those palettes, a lot of the shades are dark in here as well, but it's going to be one of those palettes you're going to want to pair with another palette. Standalone, it's going to be pretty shiny. So I did go into the crease with some of the matte blushes, and I'm really surprised and happy with how the look came out today, because I like totally just winged it. And those blushes are like boom as eyeshadows, and they blended and built very, very well on the eyes as well as on the cheeks. So I was like, cool. Now let's zoom in and give you guys some swatches. I'll go ahead and start off with the number 9 Bijoux Royale palette. And again, these are all shimmers. So let's do 3 this way. I used these twice. I had 0 fallout on my face, which is beyond awesome. And I used these colors yesterday in conjunction with like the berry blushes. It was really stunning. Those are the first 3. And then the next 3. And then dipping into the greens, which I've got these 2 on my lids today. And then the last row, which is the blues. This next one is the Highlight and Sculpt palette. And this is a nice contour for fair skin. They've got it in the very backs of my cheekbones. And I wish that the lightest highlight was a little bit brighter for fair skin. It could be just a little brighter. So these 3 right here are the shimmer highlight shades, but I feel like they are still quite natural on the skin. And then here are the contour shades. Yesterday I mixed a tiny bit of this guy with this guy for a contour, and it was a little bit too much for me, so today I just stuck with that one. And then this shade for like deeper skin tones, it's got a little bit of a slight berryness to it, and I kind of feel like it might be an easier color to work with on deeper skin tones to avoid like an ashiness to it because of that. But let's give you guys some swatches here. So those are the 3 highlights. And then here are the 3 contours, which these are all matte as well. Getting into the blush palettes, this is the 01 Plum Bronze. And all of the shades in here are matte, except for this bottom bronze shade. It's got a sheen to it. And then today for bronzing, I used this color right here. And then yesterday on my eyes, I used these 3 shades as eyeshadow. It was really, really nice in conjunction with the purples from the Bijoux Royale palette. So these guys are matte. And then the bronze shades over here, with these two being matte and then this one having some shine to it. And then these next two palettes are the ones that I wanted the most. This is the 02 Rose Coral palette, and everything in here is matte. I wore this blush yesterday, and I dipped into it very lightly, thinking they were going to be, you know, too much, but found myself that I needed to build it up after the fact. So, but that's one of the light ones. Today I was like, dee with this corally shade. This is the one that I have on today, and I also have that on my eyes. I actually have both those shades on my eyes. Anyway, let's give you guys some swatches. It's a very pale pink. And then these corally shades. And then the last one is number 3, Orange Violet. And I got this guy in the crease today. I feel like if you have a deeper skin tone, I feel like these are going to be stunning. So let's do these more orange shades. And then these purpley plums, and these are all matte as well. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. The formulations of the blush, they do have a silica powder in them, and they kind of feel like if you've ever felt the Makeup Forever HD powder with that silica type of feel in there, that's kind of what they feel like, except for instead of being like transparent, it's like a pigment type of color. And then too, size-wise, there's 0.84 ounces of product in the blush palettes, which breaks down to 0.14 ounces per blush, and the one that I pulled from my collection with that same amount is one of the Lorac buildable blushes. This is in the shade Vivid, but so one of these blushes is relatively the equivalent size of one of the Lorac buildable blushes. And then the eyeshadow palette is also a total of 0.84 ounces of product, which breaks down to each eyeshadow being about 0.07 ounces, which is a decent amount of product in here. But the Viseart products in general, like, you know, it's kind of a hard one to swallow at 80 bucks a pop, but I will say, especially if you're a makeup artist, they're a good investment. And I've loved the eyeshadows for a very long time, and each new palette that comes out, I'm like I'm like, mine. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect with the face palettes, but having used them both yesterday and today on both my face and my eyes, I have liked them. I feel like the more that I use them, the more I'm going to fall in love with them. Anyway, if you're interested in seeing these products perform in the look that's on my face, you can hang tight and we'll get into it right now. For the tops of the cheekbone, I'm going to cheat just a little bit with the highlighter, and I'm going to put down some of this Milk Makeup holographic stick, which is like a cream product, because yesterday when I had used it, the highlighter portion, I was kind of wishing for a little bit more like boom. So I'm going to put this down first and then put the highlighter over the top and see what happens. And this is a super fun product, this cream one. And I'm just going to use my finger and put it on the very tops of my cheekbones. And then I'll just highlight regularly in the other spots I like to highlight without the cream. Isn't that stick pretty though? That underneath, side note, underneath the Anastasia Moonchild Glow Kit, to die for. Anyway, Chikuhodo highlighter brush, and I'm going to go into the lightest highlighter portion. This is the Highlight and Sculpt palette, so this top one. And then I'm going to put it on the tops of my cheekbones. I'm going to pat it over that highlight portion and then I'll blend it. and then regularly where I like to highlight. So you can kind of see that's what it looks like by itself, and then this is on top of that base. Then for blush, I'm going to use the 02 Rose Coral palette, and I'm going to go into this center shade right here on a Goss number 14 brush. So just a dash, and then I'll start kind of feathering it on, because it's much more easy to build it up instead of take it away, but just really buff that. Then I like to go back over the top portion and really blend these together with that highlight brush. I don't pick up any more product, but then using a MAC 125 SE, it's like this type of a dual-sided brush. I'm going to go into the Plum Bronze 01 palette, and I'm going to go into this center shade and pick up that guy and circularly, lightly kind of, and then mush that, I can't speak, and mush that into the blush. Since I'm going to further buff it out, I'll go ahead and use the same brush in that same shade and just kind of put some on the very center of my forehead. We're going to further buff this. I'm going to use that same brush and go into the lightest portion of the contour. It's the Highlight and Sculpt palette, this top one. And I'm going to take that underneath the jaw. And then I'm also going to put just a tiny bit in the very back of my cheekbone. And then lastly, to really finish off all those color products, I'm going to take a Hakuhodo J104 brush in the Guerlain Meteorites. I use number 2 Claire, and I'm going to buff these guys all over the skin, and I'll start right here. I put a little bit of lip oil on for when I'm doing my eyeshadows. It can kind of sit there and nourish my lips before I get to the lips. But I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes from the lash line to underneath the brow with the usual suspect, which is the NYX eyeshadow base. I kind of have a mix of the number 1 and number 3 shades. And I'm going to use a really light layer of this. Today I think green or blue. Green or blue? Green. Let's do green. I'm going to take this Hakuhodo S133. It's a flat shader. And I'm going to go into this shade right here. I'm going to pack it on the center of the lid. Then using the side of that same brush, I'm going to go into the deeper green shade and put that on the outer corner and fade it inwards. Again, same brush on the side of it. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this more highlighty shade and put that in this portion. On a Chikuhodo GSN 9, I'm going to use the Orange Violet blush palette, and I'm going to dip into this like burgundy red, pink, plum, should we call it plum? I'm going to go into the crease with this one. It's almost like a fuchsia purple. On our Chikuhodo blender, I'm going to go back into the shade that I put on my cheeks for blush, which is this guy from the Rose Coral palette. I'm going to start blending out that berry shade. Oh my gosh, that color is awesome on the eyes. Ow. Back in with the Chikuhodo brush, I'm not going to pick up any more product, but I'm going to feather this into there. Then on a Hakuhodo blender, I'm going to go into the orange right above that blush shade. I'm just totally winging this, by the way. Gosh, I'm totally feeling this. They almost look like neon, that like on the eyes. Then lastly, I'm going to take this Chikuhodo shader and go into the highlight shade that I put kind of on the inner portion of the lid and put this guy right here. Yesterday I used like the berry blushes in the palettes, and the I'm just like, these are so neon on the eyes. I'm like, whoa. I totally did not expect this to turn out this bright, and I'm kind of living for it. Anyway, that's the eyeshadow and the face done. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back to put on some lips for you guys. For the lips, I've got one of Sephora's Rouge Gel Lip Liners, and this is in the shade 06, the pink of things. I'm going to go ahead and line my lips with this guy. And then the lipstick is one of the Bold Gel lipsticks from Buxom, and it's in the shade Wicked Pink. Just put some of this guy on and really fade it into the lip liner. And there is the overall finished look using the new Viseart palettes. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.